He's back!
Harry.
That's right, Insomniac's Venom makes his very first post-Marvel Spider-Man 2 appearance, and this one actually has a lot of interesting implications, some good, some bad in my personal opinion, but we're gonna break it all down in today's video. Now, of course, guys, if you do enjoy it, please don't forget to leave a like. Thank you so very much for your continued support here on YouTube, and without further ado, as I always say, let's dive on in. So let's be honest, after playing Marvel Spider-Man 2, we were all in on a possible Venom video game. I mean, come on, moments like this.
There you are.
And this. Incredibly fun to play through. However, the character kind of lacked a little bit of depth, at least in my personal opinion. Well, it seems like we're starting to get a little bit more information about the character through things like what happened this very Wednesday. For those of you that may not know, Wednesday is brand new comic book day. That is when new comic books drop, and this Wednesday was a big one for a couple of reasons, but the reason that we're going to be talking about is actually Venomverse Reborn. So this is a brand new comic book series that is essentially going to be telling the different stories of different Venom hosts and Venom characters all throughout the different universes. And one of the Venoms that they choose to tell a story about is, of course, Insomniac's Venom. So the name of the story is Kiss the Ring, which will make sense in just one moment. And it is written by Christos Gage, drawn by Greg Land. Now, the whole concept here is that essentially Null from Marvel's 616 universe, which is the main Marvel comic book universe, or the main Marvel universe as a whole, brings in the 1048 Venom into the 616 universe to help him conquer the world during an epic storyline called The King in Black. Now, as he brings him on over, first of all, we have obviously some cool, I guess, revelations and confirmations. First of all, Manhattan Earth 1048 is indeed the Insomniac universe. Now it is officially making an appearance within a Marvel comic book, which is super duper cool. But as he brings him on in, there's a quick realization that Null makes, and that is that he cannot actually mind control Harry Osborn because he does not belong in that universe. He only has the ability to control Eddie Brock Venoms or the Venoms that are associated with the 616 universe. So he was quote unquote hoping to make Harry kiss the ring and obey him as well to help him conquer the world. But Harry says, I ain't interested in all that. And instead just essentially fights off some of Null's monsters. And then Null just kind of goes like, yeah, okay, well, since I can't mind control you, you're going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. So I'm just going to send you right back to the 1048 universe. So the storyline is not all that exciting. That's what I would say. But there is some interesting implications within this, especially because of the fact that, of course, this is an official Marvel project. This is not a fan fiction. This is not something that some random person wrote on a blog post or something like that and then theorized and tries to pretend whether or not that's actually what occurred. This is Marvel's interpretation and their version of what's going on with Harry Osborn. So there's some serious implications for the character himself. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, there's obviously all these different theories that occur when a game comes out and when we don't have a whole lot of character development like the character of Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. People start to kind of come up with their own interpretations. And sometimes it's for good, sometimes it's for bad. But the point being is that there is no kind of like concrete official version and interpretation quite yet. We haven't heard anyone from Insomniac Games comment on the actual character motivation for Venom. They really kind of released the game and then said, hey, let's just, release this into the public and see what people interpret it as, and then we might or might not comment on things. Well, now we have some official commentary from Marvel Comics themselves about what the character motivation for Harry was, is, and possibly even going to be going into the future. Now, the interesting thing about it is that, of course, a lot of people interpreted Harry Osborn as just purely evil once he becomes possessed by Venom. Some people interpreted it as, hey, the symbiote partially possesses Harry's brain, and therefore it is essentially in the driver's seat and telling Harry to do these bad things. And then some people went in the complete opposite direction and said, hey, no, Harry's a completely virtuous guy. There's nothing bad that he's really truly doing with the craziness that he's committing across New York City. So basically what I'm getting at is that there was a lot of interpretations. Well, it seems like the complexity of the character that we might have been giving him might have been a little too much, because during this fight with Null, who is of course the god of symbiotes and has not made his appearance in the Insomniac Universe yet, and that will be very important to talk about here in just one moment as well. But the interesting thing is that during this fight with Null, he basically kind of admits that what he's doing is wrong and messed up, and it kind of shows that he's aware of the fact that what he's doing is incorrect, because he tells Null, hey bro, what you're doing is terrible because you're mind controlling all these people and trying to conquer the universe, and it's incredibly selfish. And then he kind of has like this moment of like, oh, oops, I'm kind of doing the exact same thing over in the 1048 universe, but here's my justification. I'm doing it because I want to heal the world. And so, yeah, literally the way that Harry interprets it is that because the symbiote healed him, he feels like, hey, I can use the symbiote to heal everybody else and solve quote unquote their health problems as well. And therefore,
We're going to heal everyone.
which is kind of hilarious in the sense that we all gave the character way more, I guess, credit than it possibly deserved, because it seems like it was really genuinely as simple as heal the world. Like quite literally, that was his motivation. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Now, I know one of the main things that a lot of people would immediately bring up is say, how does this make any sense within the canon? Because after all, what the heck happened? Did Harry just travel into the 616 universe and completely forget about it? Did he forget about meeting Null at any point in time? How could that make any sort of sense? Well, the way that they get around it is in a little bit of a classic lame way as far as forgetting things about time travel and dimensional rift. Basically, the way they explain it is that when Null cuts the space and time rift with his Necro Sword, he essentially tells Harry, hey, travel back through this, go back to your universe. I don't want you here anymore, because he realizes that he can't control him. And he essentially tells him that once you step through this portal, you will forget everything that you saw here and everything that happened during this particular encounter. Which I guess, in a way, essentially completes the idea that, yes, you can still have, quote unquote, this event happen, but Harry just simply does not actually remember it occurring. Now, another interesting tidbit that occurs in this storyline involves Harry Osborn himself and could have some massive ramifications for the future. Now, as I've mentioned, of course, the entire storyline of this particular issue involves Null trying to essentially make Harry Osborn submit to him and, quote unquote, metaphorically kiss the ring. But during this particular encounter, at one point, Null goes as far as to essentially claim to him that, hey, I am your god. I am your father. To which Harry Osborn immediately removes the venomized mask and says, nah, you are not my father. My father is Norman Osborn, and he actually loves and cares for me, whereas I know that you do not. And I think that this is really important because A, it gives us a little bit of more insight into the relationship between Harry and Norman, because I have seen some people interpret the game as though Harry hates his father because he feels like his father can't let him go. Well, it looks like, at least according to this particular comic book storyline, that is certainly not the case. He seems to actually realize and appreciate the fact that Norman is doing everything that he can to try to help him. And furthermore, I feel like this type of behavior exemplifies a bit more of an anti-hero than just a pure villain, which of course is the typical trajectory that Venom's character takes anyway. And if we were to believe the rumored standalone Marvel's Venom video game, it would make perfect sense that Harry's character would begin to project towards that side of things, going away from just a pure villain or a quote-unquote bad guy, and instead becoming a bit more of an anti-hero and ultimately probably a full-on hero. And since we're on the topic of a Venom video game, there is a really cool tease at the very end of the story as well, where essentially Null says, hey yo, you better watch out and hope that I don't put my eyes on your universe, because you definitely would not want to see that happen. Essentially implying that there is a nice little teaser here for a possible appearance of Null within the 1048 universe at some point in the future, which would be so freaking cool. I think that would make for a really great foe for Venom to go up against in a standalone title. If you want to go huge and you really want to give him a huge foe to go up against, I think that would be very interesting to see if they would possibly make that happen in a future video game. So there you guys have it. That is the latest and greatest, I guess, update for the Insomniac Universe Venom. New information has been dropped. We'll see if the character makes any other appearance in the future issues of Venomverse Reborn, because I believe it is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. So I'm very much looking forward to hopefully giving you guys another update sooner rather than later. Let me know what you guys think of these character developments and I guess official revelations for the character down in the comments section below. In addition to that, by the way, if you are a comic book fan, and even if you're not and you're interested in reading this story, go out to your local comic book store and pick up Venomverse Reborn issue number 1. I will say that I actually don't think this story was all that great, personally speaking, but there is a short story inside issue number 1 that is called Host that I thought was really, really clever, and I would definitely recommend to read that one, especially if you're a Venom fan. If you're a horror movie fan, you're gonna really enjoy that one as well. Thanks a lot for watching today's video. Of course, if you guys enjoyed, please don't forget to leave a like. Thank you so very much for all of your continued support. I will hopefully get you all here on the next one. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, everybody.